was a report today that the Lakers could make an offer to Dan Hurley that would exceed $100 million.
Oh, my God.
That's crazy.
Wow.
Listen, when was the last time you heard me say something like that? Like, that's crazy to give him that contract.
Well,
Now listen. I'm not hating on the man. If somebody's going to give you $100 million, go do it.
The answer is always yes.
Yeah.
Okay? However.
The answer is always yes.
No question about it. However, okay, I know his team has been the most dominant team in college basketball the last 2 years. He seems to be schematically a great coach. Like, there's no question I think his basketball mind can translate to the NBA level. No doubt. He comes from a family of basketball people. His dad, legendary high school coach. His brother, one of the greatest players to play at Duke. He obviously has his own career. They're an incredibly basketball-savvy family. So I'm not worried about that. But, Cappy, we talked about this yesterday. DeMarco, you were on the show yesterday. I am still super worried about the personality traits and that adapting to the NBA. And I would also say, man, if this goes poorly, and I'm not saying it is, I hope it goes great, okay? Because if it's great for them, it's great for us from a business perspective. And whether that's the local business here on 710, the NBA business in general, and that means the ESPN business is good. However, if this goes bad for some reason, whatever the reason is, Rob Pelinka has put a massive bullseye on his back in this scenario. He's going to get a family that lives basically, correct me if I'm wrong, this is their business. So they're going to commit that type of money to a coach, which they've never done, okay? For this guy coming out of college, if it does not work out, somebody is probably going to have to pay for their job. And I'm not trying to be a jerk to Rob, but that's the reality of the situation with the Los Angeles Lakers. Like, this is not a commitment they normally make. So now it's high risk, high reward. If it works, Rob is a made man, dude. He's the next Jerry West. But if it doesn't, oh boy.
Well, I'll tell you right now, I am going to say that I still don't think this is a good move. And listen, Dan Hurley, people may tell me what a great basketball mind he is, and back-to-back national championships in this environment in college basketball, he's got to be a great basketball mind. He really must. And he must be a great motivator, and his players want to play for him, and they accept that sort of tough love coaching. But I'm telling you right now, guys do not change who they are, not at this stage of their lives, not at this stage of their career. And Dan Hurley is not going to all of a sudden show up in L.A. and go, oh, it feels so good to be out here in L.A. and I'm going to just loosen up a little bit. And I'm telling you right now, he will not change. And his style, what we've seen over the last 2 years at Connecticut, it's not going to translate to the NBA, not
question.
to this team.
George, you said it. Cap, you said it today and yesterday. His style is what? He's a little rough. He's a little loud. He's a little what?
Rough around the edges.
Rough around the edges. You don't think that style? Screamer. You don't think that style will work in the NBA or just work with the Lakers?
No, I don't think it'll work in the NBA, and I don't think it'll work for the Lakers because you know who was a guy who was a screamer, based and I hate saying this because I love him, but Stan Van Gundy. Like Stan Van Gundy to me is an incredible basketball mind. Okay, and in New Orleans, it didn't work. Like, you know, he could be like Stan, which is he's emotional and passionate, right? Now, he's not this guy, okay? This guy is borderline, like, insane at times, his antics on the sideline. So I'm not comparing his histrionics, the Hurley histrionics to Van Gundy. I'm not comparing that. I'm just comparing just the one aspect of their personality, which is to be the guy who is incredibly passionate and is going to, yell and scream because that's who he is at the core, and that's what made him successful.
Yeah, I agree.
But hold on, I'm not done, dude. Hold on. That was
pause.
a dramatic pause.
That was a very dramatic pause. That was a very dramatic pause.
Respect the pause, man.
Right, I'm going to lay out here. I'm going to lay out. Go ahead, keep going.
No, but why didn't you respect the pause?
Because I thought I actually didn't think that it was a pause. It kind of sounded like I made a good solid point. Now jump in.
If it were, Romy, you would have respected the pause.
Well, he was by himself.
Keep going. I'm onto this. Go. Come on.
Okay. So anyway, but it didn't work with Van Gundy in New Orleans, like with that young group with Brandon Ingram and Zion and those guys, because that style doesn't work anymore. And Stan again is not anywhere near the extremes that Hurley gets to on the sidelines.
Like, what does he do? Just scream?
Oh, dude, you got to see some of the videos of him. Like, put it this way. You've seen Bobby Knight throw a chair across the floor.
He's not like Bobby Knight.
He's not that
you
crazy.
Can't do that
He's
anymore.
not that crazy. But, like, you've seen Lou Holtz way back in the day grab a player by – or no, it was Woody whoever from Ohio
Woody
State. Thank you. Grab a player by the face mask.
It can't be that bad.
It's not that physical touch stuff. But it's like screaming, yelling in your face.
I see Pop go off every now and then.
No, not like this.
Steve Kerr can go off every now and then. I've even seen your guy, Eric Spoelstra, get into it with his own guys and not back down. You can be tough in the NBA. If that's your only concern, then I almost have no concerns.
Wait a second. But you're talking about Eric Spoelstra being tough. He's got 2 championships. He's been to the finals 6 times.
It's a little bit different. And I'm looking at they're going to pay him, somewhere $13 million a year? That puts him in the top 5 already.
Yes. Right.
That's insane. That creates more pressure for the guy. But if your only concern is I don't think your style is going to work in the NBA, well, I've seen guys go off in the NBA. Even Jason Kidd, as cool as he is, will snap every now and then.
Yeah, but I just think this. I think this, DeMarco, and we'll keep this going. But I think this, in the NBA, unlike in college, Dan Hurley in total control of his program and in total control of his players. Because if he doesn't like the way a guy is playing,
he controls your life. Yeah,
right.
Yep.
You're benched. You don't play. You don't have a good chance to get to the NBA, et cetera, et cetera. He is in control of your life. In the NBA, more so than in any sport, the players are in control. And if you don't think that's true, all you have to do,
what do you see happening? He snaps at LeBron, LeBron snaps back, and they get into a fist fight?
Well, I think the problem is what George is saying, that if for some reason this doesn't work out, and you've given him a long-term deal with huge money connected to it, and 3 or 4 years into a 7 or 8 year contract, you don't like what's going on here, and you decide to fire this guy, and you still owe him $50 million, you're going to really, really crush your organization. So to be continued, by the way, because while we're talking about Dan Hurley, not everybody around the country loved the way Dan Hurley and the Lakers took over the headlines yesterday. We'll get to that part.